Hey guys, and welcome to this review of King of Fighters XII for the Xbox 360. The King of Fighters series has always been a series I have enjoyed personally, even though it's not had very much acclaim. But I've generally put that down to the fact that it's going up against giants like Street Fighter and Tekken, which are massive games in the fighting game genre. But I think King of Fighters might actually get noticed this year, since Street Fighter 4 was a disappointment. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from hardcore fans for that, but who cares. And Tekken 6 isn't out yet, so nothing can be said about that. So this could pave the way for a bit of an upset for this year's King of Fighting Game of the Year. Sorry for the bad play on words, but sometimes it has to be done. The next thing what I'm talking about is graphics. As I'm sure you all thought to yourself, wow, those opening cutscene graphics look awesome. And then you're greeted with this, which is kind of really strangely stylized, but then again I can probably overlook that because it plays a very minor role in the game's overall looks. I mean, take a look at this. These graphics are completely unreal. I haven't seen cell shading this good ever in my life, and that's saying something. In fact, I'm probably going to go as far to say that this game has got the best graphics out of any game I've seen so far, apart from Final Fantasy XIII. But then again, that game's graphics are in a completely different league of its own. The levels are all different inside, such as fighting inside the arena, for example, so a stadium, near cafes, and all around the globe. And even though each provides a different atmosphere in the way it looks, they each want you to. The crowd in the background certainly wants you to beat the crap out of your opponent, and that's always a good thing to be spurred on to do something like punching another character up and beating them and saying to yourself, yeah, the crowd are cheering me on, not you. But that's not the case. Anyway, the next thing we're going to talk about is characters and story. The character roster for this game is 22 characters. Now, for a normal fighting game, that's fine. But King of Fighters made this whole 3 versus 3 mode that came up. And 22 characters is not enough for this mode. I mean, and you can obviously see another problem. 22 is not divisible by 3. Well, divisible by 3, but not in a good number. You get, what, like 7 and something, and I don't really give a crap. But then again, the mathematics in this game are not really important, so who really gives a damn? The next thing we're talking about briefly is the story, because as you obviously know, I'm not really keen on stories in fighting games. But the game does well just to kind of say, okay, it's basically about this tournament where you fight to become the King of Fighters. And you basically get crowned that if you win. That's basically it. I'm not really caring about any of the other stuff like rivalries because I just want to beat the crap out of the character that I'm against. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is sound. The intro music to King of Fighters is appropriate and decent. But as with the rest of the King of Fighters series, it doesn't really do well to stick out in your mind as a song you'll remember. And I suppose that's got its good and its bad points. It doesn't feel like Sonic the Hedgehog singing it, for example, in Street Fighter 4. But anyway, the in-game music is nice as well, but as again, there's no in-game music in there that really stands out, that would not want you to make you pick that level again and again, simply so you can hear the music. I mean, I'm not bothered about what level I play unless it's got awesome music, in which case I'll choose that level, for example. But anyway, the only music that I actually think is alright is this music, which is kind of strange because it's got a nice wee rocky theme to it, and it's kind of strange they put a wee bit of effort into putting this game music in when the rest of it is kind of you don't really notice it. But I suppose it's nothing. It doesn't take anything away from the game. It doesn't really add anything to the game either. The next thing we're going to be talking about is gameplay. I'm sure as you've played fighting games, for each new fighting game you have to adapt to the new mechanics that come out. And this game is no different with the amount of mechanics it has. The first one I'm going to be talking about is called the critical counter, where every time you deal damage and take damage, a gauge is filled up. Then once that gauge is full, it goes green. You then either have to push B or Y, depending on whichever character you are, and counter the opponent. And it gives you a big massive combo chance. And it's certainly a match winner, that's for sure. There's also a counter system where you can push B and Y together and press back, which I haven't really done, and it basically just allows you to counter one of the opponent's moves. I think the mechanics in this game are fairly well done. They're certainly better than Street Fighter 4, that's for sure. And they certainly are not biased towards good players or bad players. The only difference is that good players will use them better, obviously. The controls, the next thing we're going to be talking about. I'm sure, as you all know by now, that games on consoles that are fighting games have absolutely have mostly got pretty crap controls, and this game doesn't fail to disappoint in that. The game controls are rather clunky. Unless you want to pay $60 for a gamepad, then it's not really worth it unless you're going to be thinking about playing in tournaments. So, what's my conclusion to this game? I'm sure, as you all know, the question is this better than Street Fighter 4? I would say yes. And I know I'm sticking my neck out on the chopping block, but unlike the major reviewing companies like GameTrailers.com and IGN, I'm not going to shove my head up Capcom's ass and say, oh, it's a bigger franchise, so we've got to be more nice to it. I mean, the only problem with this game is it's small character roster, and it's small level to choose from. The mechanics are better, and the graphics are definitely better for a 2D fighting game. But anyway, guys, that's enough said. That's it for my King of Fighters XII review. I hope you've enjoyed it. Peace out.